So again, it is the end of the month, and that means another monthly roundup of the books I read for the 50 Books Challenge in the month of May. This month I read a total of 4 books, which is a whole lot better than the 2 I read last month, and now we're going to go on to the reviews. The first book that I finished in the month of May was Charles Bukowski, The Pleasures of the Damned, which is a compilation of, I think, all his poems from 1951 to 1993. Oh, Bukowski, I really don't know how I feel about you. The thing about Bukowski is that I really like him as a writer. I like his writing style. It's a huge breath of fresh air from what I'm normally used to, which is transcendentalism and romantics, a lot of fluff, a lot of lovey-dovey, metaphorical hoo-ha. But Bukowski is raw and straight and to the point and blunt, and it's so awesome at times. But for the subject matter, half the time, I really enjoy what I was reading. Like, the poem Ask Me in this is my favorite thing in this entire book, and I think it's really wonderful. The other half I don't like as much because they talk about, like, his life and everything, and I really don't like Bukowski as a person. I think he's a horrible human being. I think he's an asshole. So his asshole tendencies shine through when the stuff when he talks about getting drunk and fucking women, and I'm like, I don't really want to hear about how you drink and then treat women like shit because you're a misogynistic asshole. If you're a huge fan of Bukowski and you would love to have a collection of all his poems, I would highly recommend this book because it's a really well put together book. All the formatting of the poems is really nice. The text, the paper quality, everything about it is a really nice book. But if you're not a big fan of Charles Bukowski and you don't really like the whole beatnik thing and you don't really like drinking and fucking women and stuff in your poetry, I would give this 3.5 stars. So the next book I read this month was Invisible Monsters by Chuck Palahniuk, and I'm probably still pronouncing Palahniuk wrong, even though I've been a fan of him for about 5 years. This was a reread for me. The first time I read this book was in 7th grade, and this is my first time rereading it since then. This is a book about a model who isn't happy with her life, and her gay brother died, and she is unhappy with her position in life. She doesn't like her fiance, she doesn't like her best friend, she doesn't like that her fiance and her best friend are sleeping together. So she decides she can do the worst possible thing she can do to herself and still live, which is destroying her prettiness and shooting her jaw off her face. And from there, when she's in recovery, she meets a transsexual woman by the name of Brandy Alexander, and her life is like completely changed because of it, and not really for the better. When I first read this, I thought it was like the greatest thing on the planet, and like all other books paled in comparison to it, and that's mostly because I was a dumb emo kid in middle school. But now that I've reread it and now that I've grown up a bit, I'm not too hot on the writing style anymore. I thought it was really great and eye-opening when I was in 7th grade, and now I'm just like, oh, Palahniuk, you're being your good old edgy self and using nouns as adjectives and having like really misanthropic main characters and yada yada yada. It's not Chuck's best work. It's really not. Fight Club is honestly, in my opinion, his best book that he wrote. If you're looking to get into Chuck Palahniuk, I would tentatively recommend this to you. I mean, it's still one of my favorite books of all time. I just don't think it's as great as it was when I first read it. So I'm gonna give it 4 stars. The next book I read was William Golding's Lord of the Flies, which I read for my honors British literature class in the course of 2 days. So I read through it really, really fast in order to take this test. And I really regret not really reading through it. I don't have a really big opinion on it right now. I don't have a proper review for it because I didn't properly read it. Whenever I get around to reading it again, because it's a book you should read in your life, I'll give a better review on it, but I read Lord of the Flies, so whatever. And for the last book in the month of May is Johannes, Cabal, I'm gonna go with Cabal, the Necromancer, written by Jonathan L. Howard. I want to point out how gorgeous the cover is. I think it's so pretty. I love how it's like a relief print, like a woodblock print with like kind of like black letter meets sans serif fonts, and I love the back, and the spine is pretty. Oh, it's such a pretty book. I'm just gonna read you the quick the quick little summary blurb on the back of it because it explains it a whole lot better than I can. A charmingly gothic, fiendishly funny Faustian tale about a brilliant scientist who makes a deal with the devil, twice. Johannes Cabal sold his soul years ago in order to learn the laws of necromancy. Now he wants it back. Amused and slightly bored, Satan proposes a little wager. Johannes has to persuade 100 people to sign over their souls, or he will be damned forever. This time for real. Accepting the bargain, Johannes is given 1 calendar year in a traveling carnival to complete his task. With a little time to waste, and Johannes raises a motley crew from the dead and enlists his brother Horst, a charismatic vampire, to help him run his nefarious roadshow, resulting in mayhem at every turn. It is so witty and brilliant and hilarious, and I love this book. The main character, Johannes, is a total dick and an asshole, and it's so refreshing to read a book where you don't like the main character, but I still love him anyway because he's so witty, and he's so like, I hate everyone about it, and he thinks that everyone's stupid and so dumb in comparison to him. And this book is so delightful and so much fun to read. If you're into the whole carnival fantasy, gothic, witty, tongue-in-cheek kind of books, I would totally recommend this one. It's so good. I cannot say enough good things about it. I first attempted to read this book last month. I just couldn't get into it, and now I'm so glad that I pushed through the first like 2 chapters or so because oh my god, this book is so good. I give it 4.5 stars. It's brilliant. Please go read it. It's so good. I first attempted to read this book last month. I just couldn't get into it, and now I'm so glad that I pushed through the first like 2 chapters or so because oh my god, this book is so good. I give it 4.5 stars. It's brilliant. Please go read it. It's so good. So, those are all the books I read this month. I will be back next month at the end with another collective review of the books I read for the 50 books challenge. I'm having so much fun doing these videos. Awesome. Anyway, I'll see you guys later. Bye!